Here we are again. So now we're going to go on to the nose. Now the nose is actually probably the trickiest because you can get it crooked. I've done it crooked. I have many a time been preoccupied. So now you're going to get some pins. It doesn't matter what colour they are. I'll just get some that's seeable on the whatever you call the computer. I'll do a right and left, so we've got a... Now your nose is, for a guinea pig, they relatively at the top, so it's about here, which is, I call it like a, you know, if you've got like a good round bit, so you just kind of come down yay much. You can put 2 pins here, one there and one there. Now that way you'll know how far it is. Now we'll come down. A guinea pig comes down with his nose, so his little mouth will start there. So you get something like that. Now, I have a really bad habit, which I've done on this one. It's a perfectly example of how crooked I am. Why, I don't know. So just kind of straighten it up so that the little lines look at each other. You want them to be kind of parallel with the eye, and you want to make sure that there's not too much. Now you can get your Nico again, Sharpie. Now I just like to put a line here and here. If I don't really like darkening it too much, I just put that there. So that's those. Now you can take them out and, you know, everyone will be like, and then you can kind of see that, so it works out well. Now I like to shape it before I put the colour in, so what I do is I just kind of, I go up and down like a little, it's like a little curve, I guess you could call it. That way I know this part of my little thing is going to be relatively awesome. Now he's going to get his little cheeks. You can actually see it's starting to come alive. So I've just gone into a V. I'm coming down. Now where I put his little mouth is probably a little bit too low, too high. So I'm actually coming down a little bit. And as you can see, this little guy is beautiful. Now because he's actually still quite soft around his nose, I do like a hard nose on my guinea pigs. I'm just going to fold him up a little bit, so I might take a little bit. Now you can see that he's pretty cute. I think every time I do one of these I get better and better. So we'll get our wool back. So this is our pink wool. I'm just going to use the pink, I guess is what I'm going to do. Now I just get a bunch of it. I'm just going to lay it over, literally, over all my hard work. You will kind of felt into where you need to go so that you can kind of keep your shape, and that way when you add the rest into work, it will actually mold into shape. Don't be afraid to really get into it. Now I like to just go back a little bit because I want to hide that corbel. It doesn't matter that it overlaps because the brown pumpkin's going to come through anyway. You could have just gone with a pumpkin type nose. I just like to make sure I got pink in there. And this is also where I do add the colours for outlining. Now, as you can see, I've got all my wool here. You could colour it off. I just want to get some more down. It doesn't matter if you go over. Like I say, you're going to felt all this. This is one big happy felting family. Now, as you can see, I've got my little thing there and my little nose there. Now I'm just going to cut this bit off. I hate cutting, but we're going to do it anyway. Now I might end up adding that pink back. So I just tack all these fried pieces in there. Don't like fraying cotton at all, wool. So as you can see, cute, right? It's coming along. She is getting very cute. She might have a little bit of a bunny rabbit nose happening. Her ears will hopefully make up for it. Now, I probably will get comments as to the guinea pig and not a rabbit. For me, rabbits are a little bit more, I don't know, well, they're cutesy-wootsy, but they're a little bit more shaped. I think the guinea pig for a first time fur is easy enough to follow through. Now, there you go. If you want to add more to the thing, you can. It's not hard. You just pop it on there and away you go. You kind of play with it as you go. Now, I'm just going to pull out some of this. Yeah, this is our awesome stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so it's corralled or whatever they call it. It's nice wool. It smells like sheep. That's how you know you've definitely got wool. Synthetic stuff does not smell like sheep, so always be prepared. The other thing you will know is if you brush it, it will drag off like so. It's not a bad thing, but it can be annoying, hence why you will need a awesome looking hairdryer. I mean, I keep calling it a hairdryer. You will need an awesome looking hair straightener. Awesome looking hair straightener is what you'll need. Now, you can add this in. I'm not going to. I'm going to add our brown. This is where you only need like a slither of brown. I have put a lot in there, but that's because I'm like worried. So I'm just twining this together. Now it is going to look very obvious now. Now I start in the center and I just drag it down. And then I just kind of do that. If that can help. Now that one is what I wanted. It's perfect. Now the little nose is it's kind of like little nostrils. They can be quite tricky to get right. Hence the little drawing at the beginning, because you want them to be straight. I have a tendency to make my things go crooked. Not sure why. I think it's because my left side and my right side try to overrule each other and neither one can win because they're both right. And then again, a little bit at a time. I am probably putting too much in at this moment, but that's just because you can, and I will show you that you can add the colour over it so that way you can actually see it. So they look like upside down noses. It's kind of a bit crooked. Of course it has. There we go. And then, it's going to be bubbly, I can tell it. Okay, so it's very dark, don't stress. You can, in my case, I'm just going to put some light orange over this, because my little guinea pig is going to be very lightly. Again, it's not the final product, it's just a little thing that you want to put on there just to say. It doesn't matter how far back you go, I'm just using all that's there. Now, if you're lucky enough to have other tools of the trade, which would be great. If not, I'm going to try and just stick to the one needle throughout this whole project, because if you had more, I would have definitely advised you. I would have definitely gotten more. So you can kind of see it gives that a little bit of a, oh, he's a bit orangey effect, but it does highlight that brown and makes it not so brown. It won't matter because he's going to be a perfect little guinea pig. Now, I'm going to do the ears because ears are probably the trickiest. Alrighty, so we're going to start on the ears. Now, the ears are temperamental at best, so you want to take a wad of material and spread it out. Now, your guinea pig ears, they can be any which way you like. Now, I just kind of think of them as apple shape, I guess, half a moon. They do have kind of a weird ripply effect through them. Now I'm just getting out little chunks so that we can get this laid down. Nothing too drastic. It's not going to all be used. So now if you have a felt, what do they call those? You have one of these. Perfect. Felt away. If you have one of these, even better. You can place it on top, felt away. Because I don't think anybody does, because, you know, these are actually really hard to come by now. Well, the green one is anyway. There's some really other cheaper versions. So, grab our thing. Now, this is going to take a while, so bear with me. I will speed it up. And I will come back. So one of those things, it will take time. I try not to overthink the shape. It's just a matter of getting this into a flat, squarish, rectangle-ish piece, because shaping comes later. This is about making sure all the fibers work together. Now, this is the other tricky part. So what you want to do, in my case, make sure they're two separate pieces. You want to fold across this one, so it's like a little square. And now you think I'm going to fold the other side, but I'm not. I'm going to lift it up. This here, lift it up. Don't worry about that bit there yet. Turn it over. Fold it all back down. You're going to fold these two over. Don't stress too much about the tails. If you can manage it, you'll be happy if you can get this to work. And then fold that one over as well. It's a little bit of time. I do go faster with my clover. Can hold up to 5 or 6 things. So this one here, same thing applies. It doesn't matter if you don't have all 4 sides of fabric. It's totally not a major problem. If anything, you're probably going to shape only one side of it. So lift him up. That's why it's good to have a little bit of extra padding underneath. If you've got some heat packs or a bag of rice, aka heat packs, you can bag of barley. Rice in a sock works. You can just pop that down, put this over the top of it, as long as it's fullish enough, not too full, but fullish enough. The rice really kind of holds a punch to it, keeps it in check. Now, as you can see, I'm just kind of making these square. I don't even know if you can actually hear. And then I'll get this. Okay, so if you were lucky enough to felt away on your green tool, you would have done this probably 10 minutes ago. Now, get a air straightener. This is the, turn it on, wait a few seconds. I like to make sure these are flat. Now these ears, may or may not be too thick for me. I do like thin ears. I've used a couple of different mediums to get the really good ear. I've used the, I think they call it fluffy clay. It's really silky, soft, it's air dry. It's non-messy, but it does dry fast. I have used it and then used pastels to decorate the colouring that I needed, but again, I opted out of that because, well, not everyone likes clay and I didn't want to provide pastels. And of course, it comes down to preference. Pastels are kind of dusty. I didn't want people to get asthma, which is probably overkill. Now, as you can see, it's quite flat. I just kind of pull it through, make sure it does what I need it to do. I'll refelt that, don't stress. I'll do the other one. This is just to flatten it out because even though it's felted together, it's actually relatively coarse. It's not as smooth as I want. Again, most of this is just a trial, so this furry bit is probably what I attached to the guinea pig, and in this case it's probably this side because, you know, it's the hairiest, but saying that, I don't know for sure. So as we go, it's nice and flat, turn it off, put it in a safe spot. I'll turn this over, flat them all again. Now I like to get the ears ready, but I don't like to put them on because there's a lot of work to do for this guinea pig. Turn it over. And do that. This just gives it an extra tightness after I've just aired it, straightened it, hair straightened it. So the heat acts as a conductor, keeps all the fibres tight. Wool and heat work really well together. And then of course it's one of those rinse and repeat processes. I will speed this up, don't stress. Okay, so let's try again and get another dose of the heater. If you don't have a hair straightener, you can use like one of those art irons, or you can just cut out felt fabric, so that felted stuff that you can buy in little A4 sizes from the dollar stores and $2 shops. Not really $2 anymore, but yeah. Those things you can actually use as an idea. Now, I want to cheat and use my clover because I have a feeling I can get a really nice seal on that. So see how holy it all is? It's acceptable. Don't think it's not. I'm just fussy. I'll just test one and see what happens. Didn't really do anything except make things worse. Yeah, because these are made to go up and down, so it's all good. Now we will get out also plastic thing. Now I don't really have a design in mind. I just kind of do this where I hold it up I don't know if you can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm safely just folding it all back into itself. So I'm going to get a nice straight line. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. I'll put a bit of a curl at this side and a nice round bit of that side. And then you kind of just turn it as you go. Now if you're in cardboard, you can't actually see your shape, which is probably okay. I mean, you know, it's not the end of the world. Just, it's a little bit trickier. I stole, well, I reused one of my plastic containers that already have these folds, the lid in it, so I thought, yep, sweet, I'm using it. Now as you can see, this is a very big looking ear. I could probably get both ears out of this one because well, I just can, which happens, you know, you don't know it until you're doing it, so don't be afraid. It's one of those oops, it worked things. Now I don't really mind if I get two out of the one. And now I am wondering, because I don't like cutting my wool. I do not like cutting. I like the natural tear of it, because then it doesn't feel like it's going to be in trouble. So I'm just going to go back over this one. As you can see, it's coming along like a little cat ear. Don't overthink it again. Yes, I will be using the iron again. The ultimate goal is to make sure my guinea pig ear is kind of flappy and kind of sideways, which is kind of what's happening here. So it's an odd shape. I mean, it's different to how I do my other ears. I usually don't do just felt ears. I usually always do wax in my ears, which is no pun intended. I do like to just make sure that this is a purchase. So that's pretty cute. He's, you know, going to be an ear. He's going to have his ear on there. Don't stress too much about the overlap. It's a thing. Now, as you can tell, this guy he's not very head heavy, but it works. This one here, I'm still kind of working on it. I'll probably end up snipping this bit here because I want to go down. I don't like cutting, but I had to because I need to make this a bit more rounded. Like I say, think of it as a cat ear or a teddy bear ear. One side's going to be more elongated than the other, and then the other one's going to be a bit more. So it's a process. I kind of make them into little cat shapes, I guess. It's the phrase I'm going for. Now, it is entirely up to you if you do your ear like this. You might have a better method than this, but if you're following along, you probably can't make the ear without this plastic thing slash cardboard thing. Just get a piece of cardboard, fold it in half, and then flip the sides over so you don't stab yourself. It's super, it's a super lifesaver. It also works if you don't actually have a hair straightener, because your ears, because this naturally, you know, keeps everything flat. So there we have it. So we have one that's a little bit more curly than the other, that's fine. And I'm going to straighten it again. Just trying to flatten out the kinky bits, and hopefully you'll see what I mean. This is a ceramic iron, I think they call them. Oh, I think they all are. I don't know. I just know I got this one years ago. It's a perfect little one for my hobbies. I would recommend getting mini hair straighteners for this kind of project. I think I paid like $6 at the $2 shop at the time. Yes, and it still works. And it was quite ingenious, I'd say. So that is our ears. They look pretty good. Don't judge just yet, because yes, they are both different shapes. But that's okay, because this one's going to be here, or maybe there, maybe that way. I don't want to be like that. So yeah, that'll be fun. Now what I'm going to do is put our ears aside and pause. Alrighty, so we are going to add a little bit more on his head, because he's very cute, she's very cute, he's very cute, whatever you want to call him. And just kind of roll it up, and I'm going to add a patch on his head. It's not crazy, because I don't like to have too much happening, but I like to give my guinea pigs a bit more of a skull bone at the back here for their ear face. This is probably when you would add more to the rump if you really wanted. I can and probably will. I'm thinking I can add a little bit more. The this little critter is definitely looking a bit more skull-like, and then I add this little bit here. It doesn't matter too much with these because the fur really does cover it. If you're really worried about you don't have to make it too perfect. I just like to make it solid, if that makes sense. So this little guy has a little bit more width on his backbone. We call it a wither. That way we have a perfect amount. Again, if you have a lot of you have a needle holder that can hold up a couple of needles at once, and by all means, probably a little bit safer and a little bit faster. Enjoy the sound of felting, and it's also refreshing because, you know, stabbing will, right? So it is a metaphorical fun thing to do. I have made quite a few guinea pigs. Again, I don't own a guinea pig. I actually haven't owned a guinea pig in years. If that's what you're wondering, why I have this fetish for baby guinea pigs. I do think they're adorable, and I fell down the rabbit hole one night on Pinterest and found hairless guinea pigs, and of course I thought that was just gorgeous, and here we are making baby guinea pigs. These are furred guinea pigs, not soft. I do have a smooth coat, which is where you just felt the colour onto it, so it's a flat. I've done one. I didn't like it as much. I like furry guinea pigs. So he's a little bit chubbier at the top, as you can see here. His head's a little bit more thicker, so that'll hold his ear bones up here. Now, when we go to start, which we are doing, I like to not felt the fur in here. I used to, but it becomes too, I don't know, irritating as you're going. So I like to just felt this. I just grab a swash of this. I'm just going to felt it down into the belly. This is the first, I call it the first kind of color zone that you're putting down. Once you kind of flatten it in there, you just go around these legs. Don't stress too much because the fur will cover that illusion. So I like to just do this here so that they're covered. And this little pumpkin color is going to work perfectly. It doesn't matter how high up you go because you're going to start putting fur on. I will do another tutorial later on tricolor or double colors. Again, they're a little bit more work, they're a little bit more thought, but it depends what you want. I mean, I quite like plain guinea pigs myself. I do find them quite cute. I think this is like I call it a pumpkin color, but I think it's called a chestnut guinea pig. Maybe not, I can't remember. And of course, I am obsessed with making the guinea pig family. I have quite a few mum, dads and babies, or mums with babies. And the adult guinea pigs take longer, and I do a little bit more work. So the claws actually I make chubbier, so that way they do fit the adult. They look a bit more older in their ball and their little thing. Now it might come clear that this feels a little bit sluggish, so it might be a little bit blunt. I don't really notice it when I'm doing the fur because I just keep going. If you do find it's getting a bit sluggish, just switch over and try one of your other needles. Mind you, I've been using the same needle for a while now. The core wool will flatten your needle. I don't even know what that word is. Flatten. Just make it not so awesome. So I'm leaving that little fluffy bit there because what's going to happen is my little fluffiness is going to come back. So what I will do is I'll do a line across here, because it's where my little chest is. Don't think too much about it. So this comes here. Now this is where you can start your first initial glue point. So what I do is I run a layer of glue along those lines. I run my needle into it, and then what I do is I actually go up a little bit so that I'm not just on that line, and I put my needle about, so that's where I glued. I'm just going to go up a little bit, and I'm going to fold this back, and then I'm going to go over the top of that. And that is how I get my little fluffy bit. So that kind of there, you can hang it there until towards the end when you want to cut it down. So you can fold it down just to hold it in place. It's nothing major. So that is kind of what we're going for. You can spend more time on this. It's not a requirement. I do get obsessed myself, so I know what it's like if you're not happy with it before you move on, or if you are. Now, as you can see, because I have a very orange guinea pig, the pink is very contrasting. You can change this to brown, to the pumpkin. If you've watched this before starting your process, that'd probably be a great idea. I'm not too worried. I mean, little guinea pigs are cute anyway, so most of them I see have little pink feet. So now we are going to move on to the actual hair. I'll be back.